Good day, everyone. So today I will be presenting our next lesson for this quarter. So for this quarter, it talks about the data presentation of your research. And today there are three major points that I'd like to discuss. Number one, of course, our topic, which are the different ways to present data in some researches. Number two, the APA format for presenting the table. And number three, your worksheets. So I would like everyone to watch until the end of this video because the worksheets were being presented until in this video. Okay? So I think we have discussed this one in our previous lesson. When you were in grade 8, we already discussed about the different types of data presentation. So you have the table, the pie chart, the bar, histogram, the box and whisker, this is something new, scatter plot, and line chart. And of course the run chart. That looks like a line chart. So just to give a quick overview about their pros and cons, their description, because I think you already know about this one. So first and foremost, we discuss the table, which is the most commonly used ng data presentation in our research. So the table is used because a table shows the raw data presented in rows and columns. So usually, for example, in your research, you have there na fertilizer A, B, C, trials, the results, and so on and so forth. So one thing I've noticed on your previous research sa inyong home-based experiment is that you did not follow the replication principle. Okay? So again, we need to follow the replication principle. So there must be at least 3 trials. So that's why nagbuo ang mga scores ang iban. And later on, you will be asked to do the same thing again, and I would like to know if you really know how to do data presentation. So again, in table should be used for small data sets for comparison, number of discharges, month by consultant, the growth rate of your plans, your different methods, etc. Okay? So tables are mainly used for comparison. So what are the pros and cons of the table? Number one, it is precise when showing your data, but sometimes table can be hard to interpret because number one, you cannot see patterns. Okay, unlike your graphs, your charts, where it is usually visually appealing, and at one look, at one glance, you can already see the the comparison or the difference between two data sets. So that is one big disadvantage of the table. That's why every table should have a discussion. Okay. Next, we have the pie chart, and you know the pie chart usually you see a pie chart in your classrooms which shows the data as a percentage of the whole. So for example, 10% for Sparrow, numbers of patients on waiting list, McLean 20%, Gordon. So the size of the division of the pie chart is actually corresponding to the amount, okay, to the number. It should be used for 3 to 7 categories only, patients on the caseload of diagnosis. So remember that for pie chart, there must only be a limited number of categories. Okay? Too much and it is already very confusing. So pros and cons. It is simple and quick to show proportions because you can already see at one glance, even though wala di number, even though I don't place a number on this part, kung wala siya 10% and so on, at one glance you can see that Sparrow is the least among the rest and Wilson has the greatest. The total represented by the chart is unknown. Okay? That is only one disadvantage because you don't know the exact number. Okay, you only know that's 10%. But what about the exact number? That is something that you don't know. So you need to solve that one. Again, it depends on the given data. Next, we have the bar chart. So the bar chart shows data in separate columns. So usually it has a time element. For example, day 1, what is the result? Day 2, day 3, so on. So you can see progression. So should be used for comparison between discrete categories. Example, patients on a caseload by town. So again, it is used for comparison. So pros, it shows the scale of the categories, and cons, reordering the bars can change the interpretation. Okay, that is one disadvantage of the bar chart. You cannot change the order. Because for example, if you put this one on this part, it will change the entire interpretation. Okay? Next, we have the histogram that shows continuous data. There are no gaps between the columns. As you've noticed, the difference between a bar chart and an histogram is that the data are continuous. They are placed beside each other. Okay? So it should be used for any data where there are no gaps between the categories. Example, the distance of patients from the community team base. So there must be no distance in between. Okay, usually in your statistics, ang mga ng LCB na bala and GCB, amo na siyang ginabasihan sa inyong histogram. Ang minus 0.5 and plus 0.5. So pros, it shows the continuity of data categories, and the cons that the data is grouped so you cannot see individual data. So you cannot see the individual data because they are grouped. Okay? Next we have box and whisker. So you don't usually use this one, but anyway, the box and whisker plot shows the median and the range of a group of data. So it must be used for group data that has a spread. Example, total number of points meant for those discharged in a month. So dapat when you say spread, kung ano kalapta ang imong data. Okay, that's why may range na siya. Okay? So patient groups in order of referral. So from 1 to 10, kung sa example ang 1 to 10, di na din ma-spread ang range sa imong data. Okay? Then 11 to 20, di naman sa morning days. Then 21 to 30, di lang hasta. It shows the range of the data. So it shows the average and spread in one picture. So one advantage that you can see the variance, but it is very difficult to explain to others. As you can see, sometimes it is confusing, especially if you have little knowledge about statistics. When it comes to range, when it comes to spread or variance, would like siya yun. But the scatter plot is also another example of data set that shows ng variance. So when we discuss the scatterment or how scatter the data, we're actually referring to the variance. So scatter plot displays all data as single points. So you plot the data here, there. So ina-plot mo yung mga data. Should be used for two sets of numerical data, the total number of appointments in care pathway and change in core net score. So again, it shows the variance. Kung ano kalapta ang imong data. So the more nga lapta ang imong data, the more nga dako ang variance. Okay? The more nga scatter nga lapitay ang imong data, the more nga low ang variance ng imong data. Shows all data points including the outliers. So you can see mga outliers tabi areo do ka solo sa ang mga outliers amo na sa mga solo or mga highest or lowest point sa aton nga data. So, can highlight correlation. Okay, so kung magtaas pa lang isa ka data, magamay ang isa ka data, you can see that using the scatter plot. Interpretation can be subjective, that's one disadvantage. And correlation does not mean causation. Okay? When we say causation, one variable cause the other. So, does it mean nga amo na siya ang cause when it comes to correlation? Next, we have the line chart. A line chart plots data in order and joins them with a line. So, ang scatter plot, do kay mo siyang line graph, maging connectan mo lang sa line. And it shows progression. Should be used for data over time. Okay, so you can see over time, so may progression. Example, the number of follow-ups per patient in order the patients were discharged. So, may time element ka, like example, this time in days, and you show the number of patients being discharged. So, for example, at day number 50, din may pinakadamo nga gin-discharge nga patient sa second appointment. Then sa first appointment, anong pinakadamo? That's around 20. Okay? Amo naman na siya on day 20. So, shows all data points is simple to look at and you can present multiple data sets. As you can see, there are two data sets here. The first appointment and the second appointment. But the data must have an order. So, dapat may pasunod ang imong data because we are referring to progression. So, in order of referral. Okay? And last, we have the run chart. It's a line chart plus the median for the data. So you can see here, the red line there states the median of the data. And of course, the individual data set. Should be used for data over time to look for any changes. So example, the number of new referrals each week. So easy to interpret with 4 easy rules to look for and cannot be used for unordered categories. So dapat may order. So that's why again may time naman nga element to ensure that there is an order. Okay? So these are just some of the data presentation types na common sa ating mga research with the table as the most commonly being used in our research. So after that, you can just simply pause, replay this video so that you can easily understand. And please watch the entire duration of the video because the worksheets are presented in this video. Okay? So let us now proceed to the ng data analysis liwat sa results and discussion sa aton nga IMRAD. So damo gyapon nga kabalda, pagdamo ga pinalagpat sa ilang results. So results and discussion, I will just explain three major parts. Number one, the findings that shows the table and the discussion. Okay, di ba na-discuss na eh? The discussion refers to the results on the table. Usually, we only discuss the outliers and whether there are data that are being supported, I mean, there are research that are being supported or not. Okay? So, kung may gina-support siyang research, we will try to ng support that kung may support lang siyang research, we will try to state that in our discussion whether ga-agree ta. Okay? Kung wala, of course, the research is not agree and so on. So, muna siya ang aton nga data na presentation in the findings section. Okay? So, let's go back to that one. This is the procedures. Okay. So, results and discussion. So again, ang first part is ang findings that usually shows the table. As you can see, the table title is placed above the table. Okay? So table 5, you try to name what is the title, what is your table about. Then, one thing that you need to notice when it comes to the APA format of the table is that it only follows the 3-line structure. Okay? Ano lang ang line ang may border? Ang sa babaw, that refers to the subtitle or the subtext of your table and sa dalom. Okay? Kita nyo? Amulan ni nga line, aring line no? Aring klaso. Amulan ni nga line, ang sa babaw, then sa dalom, then ang sa pinaka-dalom, pinakapunta. Amulan na siya ang may border. Again, ang may border lang sa itong IPA format, ang nag-cover sa subtext sa inyong table, sample test perform remarks, amula na ang may line. Then sa dalom, amula na. Tatlo lang gid ka horizontal line. Ang aton nga IPA format sa aton nga table. Another example is this one. So as you can see, tatlo lang ka lines. 1, aryo, 1. Then aring kadua, naring katatlo. Tatlo lang ka lines. Then the rest is just a colorless border. Wala na siya kuret ang iban. Only this part, and the last part. Let's look at another one. So again, tatlo lang ka line. Line 1, line 2, then line 3. Amo lang na ang borders, ang may color. That is for the APA format. So again, how do we discuss our data? So damo gyapon nga kabalda. Of course, we only state the extremes of our data. And our results are always based on our objectives. Okay? So for example, ang ilang ding isa sa ilang objectives is about nan. What are the phytochemicals present in aratiles? So ano kuno ang mga phytochemicals present in aratiles? Since ara sa iyang specific objectives, so dapat ara man siya sa aton nga results. Nan. Phytochemical screening of aratiles. So dapat ara na siya. Next is ang median or lethal dose. Ara man silang objective. So dapat ara man sa aton nga results. Kaya mo na siya ang gusto ta nga i-solve. Then you discuss your table. So example, table 6 shows that blah 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 blah. Then you state some important data. Usually the average, kung ano siyang average. Okay? So let's try to look at some example data. Nan. You get the mean. So kung anong mean, usually discuss ta ang mean. So ma-discuss ta ka table, of course we discuss what the table is all about. Parte sa ano ang imong table. Then ano ang relationship sa kada table. So results indicate that 0.4 milligrams per milliliter of metal extract has a higher anti-angiogenic property. Okay? Kay nga 85.92. So i-state mo na sa imong discussion nga siya ang may pinakataas nga anti-angiogenic activity because it has 85.92 mean percent. And of course, the 67.9p sa positive control nga percentage. Okay? So you can state that one, and of course you can cite studies that are being supported by your results. And of course, ang statistics, drama na ginabutang, but wala pa stat, so we'll only focus on the raw data. Again, simple lang pasunod, table title, your table itself, and the discussion of the table. By only citing the extremes, ang mga highest kag mga lowest lang nga part ang aton nga data. Okay? Ang mula nakasimple, and yet not all of you can follow that one. So you have another results here, tatlo namang kalinya, ang sa babaw, ang next, then ang sa dalong. Then, discuss naman ang table. So the table shows blah 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 blah, but it is statistics and we are not still on statistics. So for example, I will show you another ng presentation, none. So this one, nasa different format, kaysa among paningadaan, but ang ato na siya nga table, magpa-start ka table. Sa new ta nga format. Yan, ano siya. So this is our research when we were in college. So mauna ang table, the title, then discussion sa dalom. Okay? So table. So example, we conducted bioplastics, we made bioplastics. So table 1 is the results of biodegradability test. So muna siya ang mga varying ratio, then mga replicates, ang mga varying ratio, kung lang replicates, replicate 1, 2, 3, then the commercial. Then again, dapat may tatlo ka trial or tatlo ka replicates sa kada ratio. Then you discuss. So table 1 compares, ang first sentence usually is what the table is about. Okay? So para sa inyo, hindi ka ba mag-format sa APA format, as what I've said, tatlo lang na sa kalinya. Okay? So usually, pang no border, outside borders talang danay, or no borders talang danay, nan. So wala siya borders. Ano lang may border? Ari lang ang parto, ang sa may biodegradability test lang. Okay, so ang border, ari lang sa top nga border, then sa may diri nga border, nan, duwa na border, then sa pinaka dalom nga border. Amula ni siya ang may border. The rest, wala na siya sang border. Nan, tatlo lang sa ka-line. Okay? So, sa may title or ang first line sa inyong table, enclose in a border, then sa pinaka-bottom nga part sa border. So again, we discussed the extremes, ano lang ang may pinaka-highest or lowest nga data. So for example, replicate 3 of 75 potato and gabi starts as the highest weight. Okay? So anong replicate 3 sang 75-25, aring 75-25. Ano ang pinaka-highest weight difference? Kaya negative 0.2249. Siya may pinaka-highest, so biskan ano kadamo yung mga data, ang may pinaka-highest lang or lowest ang aton nga is state. Okay? Amuna na siya mag-discuss ang aton nga table. And I hope that you are following this one. Okay? So, amuna na siya. So, the same sa ibang nga table. Okay, so questions. So, we discussed the different data types. We discussed the APA format. And again, we discussed the results and discussion. So, let us now proceed to your worksheets. So, there are 2 worksheets in this video. So worksheet 1, you will copy this template. I will not give the template sa Google Classroom, but you need to copy this one. Okay, you need to copy, you need to write this one sa inyong Word file, then you need to answer. So write your name, your section, then you give the 5 different ways to present your data and give a 1-sentence description of their appropriate usage. So you list to ang 5 at only 5 sa so, ipinang-discuss ta, Then, you describe each kung diin sila kung paano sila ginagamit. So, deadline November 6, 2020, 5 p.m. So, kung nagapamatik ka kung ilang tamong video, ari lang ding answer. So, just choose 5. Then, you give a one-sentence description of each. Okay? So, I give a short time for you to screenshot this template so that you can copy. Or you can simply pause the video and you copy this template on your Word file. So again, I will assign a specific section on our Google Classroom for you to submit your files. I will upload this one on YouTube, so that link na lang i-upload ko, and please watch this one. Kaya importante siya. Okay? So that is for worksheet 1 for the second quarter. Next is the worksheet 2 for second quarter. This time, you still copy the name, your section. Then, you're going to create a results and discussion section for the following raw experimental procedure below. So, may mga naman mo na karon. Use the APA format extracting your table and label your tables properly. So, I'll be giving some details about the research and some raw data. So, inyong obrahon, you copy this template again, then you write your findings, ang table, ang data analysis, okay, using your calculations for measure of central tendency, nga table, and of course, your conclusion. Okay? So again, conclusion, kung data gina-reject ang atong hypothesis, calculation, sa inyong mean, median, mode, but we will use the mean lang for this time. So let's discuss the worksheet. So the title of the experiment is the effect of fertilizer X on the growth of mungo beans. So the GO is that to determine the effect of fertilizer X on the growth of mungo beans. Specific objectives. Letter A, descriptive. What is the effect of fertilizer X on the growth of mungo beans? Is there a significant difference between the varying ratio of fertilizer X and the commercial fertilizer on the growth of mungo beans? So is there a significant relationship between the varying ratio of fertilizer X in the commercial on the growth of mungo beans or mung beans? Of course, hypothesis. Ano na ganun hypothesis? Ang ato lang comparative kag relational. So, ang inyong conclusion, mabase sa imong hypothesis. So, there is no significant difference between the varying ratio and there is no significant relationship between the varying ratio. Okay? So, that is for the first part, the experiment, the objectives of the experiment, and of course, the hypothesis of the experiment. Okay? So just pause the video and read them again so that you can proceed to the next section. In the next section, you're presented with the raw data of the experiment. Okay? So as you can see, these are the results of the experiment kung ano ang effects ng fertilizer X sa growth sa mungo beans in 1 week, commercial and a negative control. So it's up to you on how to arrange the data correctly using the APA format that I discussed earlier. Okay? So use the measure of central tendency to analyze the data. You copy the template below for your answers. Deadline is Friday, November 6, 2020. So, pagkakita mo isang muni, ikaw ni siya ang ma-arrange sang table using the APA format. So, findings, you write your tables here in the APA format, labeled properly with significant parts discussed in detail. So, you discuss or describe the table in detail, but citing only the important parts or ang mga extremes, highest or lowest data. Then data analysis, you just provide a sample calculation. You made a table kung ano ang mga mean, median, modes ang inyong nga raw data. Ano na siya ang mean? Okay? Again, we'll only use the mean. Ang walang applicable to dami kayo para stat. So mean lang ang basihan sa data analysis. Then conclusion, you make your conclusion. So at first, you try to accept or reject the hypothesis, depende sa results sa data analysis. Then state your conclusion, whether fertilizer X is effective or not. Okay? So that is for the worksheet. So to give you more examples of this one, sa ilang imrad page number, nan. Amo ni ang ilang data analysis ang may mean, median, mode, but may mean. So, lang ba na table, depende sa data. Then, dito mag-summary, marik na lang sa aton nga conclusion. So, conclusion, you again state the results of your data analysis sa inyong stat, sa inyong mean. Then, conclusion, you go back to your hypothesis whether you will accept or reject your conclusion. But mag-base na tadanay, whether you accept or reject your hypothesis, but mag-base na tadanay sa aton nga results ang aton nga central tendency or in this case ang aton nga mean para mag-accept or reject sa hypothesis. Okay? So, walang dahil recommendation, kaya mo siya complete study. So, amo lagi nakasimple ang aton nga ulabrahon. Duwa ka worksheet. Again, worksheet 1 is this one. You give the 5 different ways to present your data. And of course, worksheet 2 is this one. So you are given the objectives and the title, hypothesis, the raw data. It is your job to arrange that data. So, ang isang worksheet ang results and discussion. So, you write your findings, your table, your data analysis, anong results sa inyo nga mean, pag-calculate isang mean, you made another table, label, discuss, and of course, your conclusion, whether you accept or reject your hypothesis based on the results of your data analysis. Again, all of the worksheets are due this Friday, November 6, 2020, 5 p.m. Please don't be late because I am now deducting points from late submissions. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Okay? I already posted the video mechanics and of course your next set of submission for the team research unless you're a team. So please comply. Okay, so I guess this ends our discussion and I'll see you on our next presentation.